The beginning of 20th century, we were just 1.6 billion people. Now, 2019, we are 7.6 billion people. Now, they are saying by 2050 we will be 9.6 billion people. Why are we making these predictions? Why don't we have a plan? Why don't we say in the next 50 years we will be 4.5 billion people? Are we willing to address this? This is what needs to be addressed. It may look like there are many problems, but actually there is only one problem. We are nice, but we are just too many. This we need to understand. There is no space for any other creature to live on this planet simply because we are so many and our footprint is so big. So we are trying to reduce the size of our footprint, I understand that. But believe me, it is much easier to control human population than human aspirations. You cannot control human aspirations. You can easily control human population if everybody is focused on that. The nations, the religions of the world, various community leaders, everybody, if they are focused on seeing how to bring down the population of this planet, human population, so that other populations can live. Because we need to understand this planet will perish if all the insects die today, within 4 to 6 years' time. If all the worms die, within 1.5 to 2 years, all life on this planet will perish. If all the microbes die, probably within hours this planet will perish. But if you and me disappear, this planet will flourish.
At this time, it is very important that everybody gets vaccinated. We need to understand health is not an absolute thing. Health is something that we achieve incrementally. So the same thing goes for the vaccination. Right now, vaccination is a must for everybody. Nobody should evolve philosophies of anti-vax. This is just rubbish right now, putting everybody's life to risk. Well, if you want to be anti-vax, go and live on a Himalayan peak where you're not in touch with any human being, it's fine. But if you're living in a city, town or a community, you must take vaccination right now.
Wow, Sadhguru, wow, you've given me a lot to talk about. Now, welcome back to Warriors Amongst Men. As always, my name is Sam and I'm here to help you through your spiritual awakening process. And if you're new, let me just give you a little bit of an intro background to who I am. Right, I went for a spiritual awakening many years ago. I saw how corrupt the world is and I became a truth seeker. I wanted to understand why the world is the way it is, because I cared about my freedom and I cared about the freedom of all, right? Why is the world the way it is? What is the solution? And I devote my life to actually helping with that solution, which is what spirituality is all about. You understand it's a calling. You understand how important it is for us to actually speak up for the truth. And the truth is something that you can come to know and understand, because there is order to the universe. For example, 2 plus 2 is 4, right? No matter what you believe, it will always be that. So spiritual awakening is first of all understanding that human perception is malleable, it's changeable, it's like changing your glasses, right? So you can put a pair of glasses on and now you see the reality more clearly or more distorted depending on the lens. So perception is like the lens to reality. So our job on the spiritual path is to align our perception to the truth. You seek the truth and then you align your perception to it. And what I'm going to share with you in this video, by the end of the video, I'm going to share with you the holy grail of spirituality, the secret of secrets behind all secret societies. But before we get into that, let me just share with you what mind control is, because when you awaken you realize that human perception has been infiltrated, it's been manipulated, it's been formed externally, because perception is developed by the information that we receive, and the information we receive determines our perception and then therefore our behavior. So if you want to enslave humanity, then you must infiltrate their perceptions and then therefore their behavior. So when you're a truth seeker, you got to realize that the truth is sometimes quite shocking. So it's not about how it makes you feel, or what the guy looks like who's giving you the truth, how he's dressed, what his hair's like. Is the information correct or not? So you got to do your own research until you know that it's correct. I'm not asking you to believe me. I put this information out there so that it's out there, so that you can see, and then you can do your own research and you can come to your own conclusion. That's what spirituality is about. So I don't want people to have cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is where new information comes to you, but you resist it because of your pre-existing belief systems. Many people will have already commented by now and left because they are worshipping Sadhguru with religious fervour, right? They've become cult members. Now do some research on what cult member actually means, right? Because it's not about Sadhguru, it's not about me. Like many people think, oh, you're just jealous of Sadhguru because he's more successful than you or something like that. Now that's not what this is about. I'm completely open. If Sadhguru wants to challenge what I'm saying, I would have a conversation with Sadhguru on this matter and what we're going to discuss in this video. With that being said, I just want to talk a little bit about Satanism, right? What Satanism really is first of all, it's nothing to do with Christianity, right? They just want you to believe that because now you'll just think, oh, it's just another one of those religions. Well, you need to understand that what Satanism is a bunch of people that have found out that human beings are very moral people and that we will not allow injustice to take place on our planet and certainly in front of us. So they have manipulated human beings. They want us to be ignorant, they want you to be working all the time, they want you to be looking the other way so they can get away with doing whatever they want to be doing. Humanity in our natural state, in what we might call divine order, would flourish, and if we understood how the laws that govern human behaviour actually function, and we aligned our actions to it, right, and our behaviour to it, then our potential is infinite, right? That's how true evolution occurs, with order, right? But you cannot have any sort of evolution if you're in a state of chaos, as I'm sure you may have known if you've experienced chaos in your life. So Satanism is all about manipulating people, and they use a technique called divide and conquer. They want us at war with each other, policing each other. They don't want you to realise that they are behind the infiltration of consciousness and that they are to blame. Satanism represents involution, right? So they want to divide people and they want to reign as gods in this world. They want to get away with whatever it is they want to do. Satanism is also a worldwide ideology that people adhere to, and their job is to manipulate others into being Satanists without even realising that they are Satanists. And I've actually got a video called 5 Signs You're a Satanist and Don't Even Know It if you want to watch on YouTube. Now, along my journey of truth discovery, I've read many books. One of the books I've read is this guy's books, and I've read a couple of his other books, and I've shared my thoughts on his work many times in the past. My information doesn't come from his perception, right? I have took that information and integrated it into my perception, but I'm not just a mini-me David, right? I've got my own mind also. And we'll talk about David's work in another video, but David does actually reveal the agenda for the dark NWO. You guys know what I'm talking about when I say that. He reveals the structure perfectly, the hierarchical structure in society and how people are manipulated, how people are under mind control and under a spell, and he talks about it perfectly. Now, what you need to know for this video is what the agenda actually is, and if you want to look no further, look at the Georgia Guidestones in America, and it has the 10 Commandments for the New World Order, shall we say. And the first one is maintain human population under 500 million, which is telling us that there is clearly a depopulation agenda. And if you actually go on YouTube and type in Bill Gates TED Talks, there's one of him talking in 2016 saying it's all about how the world is overpopulated, and that he's confident that we can depopulate by 10 to 15% with successful V programs, right? The reason I've got this out is so that I can get away with saying certain words without the censorship, which should be another red flag, of course. Bill Gates is also funding the current Vs with up to 50 billion, and that was at the beginning, so he's probably put more into it now. David also has a chapter in his book on why Bill Gates is a psychopath, if you want to learn more about it. And if you want to learn more about their agenda, then I recommend reading his book. Although I don't agree with everything he says in his book, I will be revealing to you the true answer in this video, so stay tuned. So the plan for the NWO and these Satanists is they want to depopulate the earth. They want to microchip the survivors and put you all in little smart cities with under 24/7 surveillance. It's sort of like something out of some Black Mirror episode. So the fact that Sadhguru promotes depopulation, and he promotes the V, and he's a speaker at the World Economic Forum, should reveal many red flags for you if you have the background in your perception of what's really going on in the world. See, when we talk about the World Economic Forum, these are a globalization cult. We're seeing a massive change in the way society is structured. Many thousands of years ago, humans would have operated in little groups, right? Little clans, and each region would have had its own way of doing things and its own society. But over the time, power has become more and more centralized. So what they've done is now we have presidents and prime ministers, and each country has a centralization of power. Then they brought it into Europe, and a bigger centralization of power with the European Union and others like that. And that now what they want is a world government, right? And we've got the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, the World Banking System, and that's where it's planned to go, right? And that's why we have so many idiots as presidents and prime ministers right now, because they want you to lose faith in them, and then they will share with you, oh, well, what we're going to do instead is, why don't we just have the experts tell us to do, which in other words are unelected officials. So basically, it's a centralization of power, and then the Satanists really do control every aspect of human society. So when we talk about Satanists, Satanists can be anyone. They're not just hooded people cloaked in a forest somewhere. They can be men, women, all races, anywhere in the world. This cult has no borders. You can be a spiritual teacher, you can be anyone, but who they will recruit is people that have intelligence and people that have power in society. So it may well be police officers, people in the military, people in high power positions. And Sadhguru is definitely someone in a high power position, especially in the spiritual community. Because when people started rejecting religion, because we saw how manipulated a lot of the religion is, then they created the New Age movement. And even if they didn't create the New Age movement, it's certainly been infiltrated, and now they're giving you watered down teachings, which brings me to moral relativism. You see a lot of moral relativism in the spiritual community, and this is the number one sign if you want to spot a fake guru, because they will tell you that there is no right or wrong. And what they're promoting is moral relativism. And moral relativism, what it means is, man gets to make up what right and wrong is. Now let me explain. What moral relativism means is that right and wrong don't exist. It's only a man-made concept. And if you believe this, then what you're basically believing is that you have no rights. And how contradictory is this? Because people say, oh, there is no right or wrong. But then in the same sentence or video, they'll say, being free is your birthright. And Sadhguru's got loads of videos on things like, you're sitting wrong, you're breathing wrong, you're eating wrong, you're sleeping wrong. So hang on a minute, didn't you just say there was no right or wrong? I've done a whole video on this called The New Age Deception of Judge Not Lest Ye Be Judged. And we're speaking about how humans don't get to make up what rights and wrong are, not because they don't exist, but because they are already inherent in nature. It is a science, it is something that is testable. You can come to know the laws that govern human behaviour. For example, if you want to understand what a right is, first of all you need to define it in the negative, because there are infinite rights, but there's not many things that you can't do. Right, so if you want to define what a right is, let's look at the negative. We have to define it in the negative. So the way that we define it is actions that are right are in harmony with natural order. Right, it causes no harm to other sentient beings. Right, it causes the least amount of harm possible. Right, so me singing, that's not causing any harm, is it? But me murdering someone, that is causing harm, and then therefore it's causing chaos. So you can, don't believe me what I'm saying, this in your own life. If you go around lying, if you go around stealing, if you go around raping, if you go around murdering, if you go around trespassing, if you go around imposing your will on everyone, you watch the chaos that happens in your life. So the secret of all secrets in all secret societies, right, is that there is a law that governs human behaviour, and it's called moral law. Right, whatever you want to call it, there's many different names for it. We also call this the law of freedom, because when you are aligned to moral law, you will get more freedom in your life. But if you're not aligned to it, then you're creating chaos. And guess what happens if you create a society where there's no morals and there's no truth? You get a chaos, right? You get chaos there. So then we have to have a man-made law to govern us. So ultimately, the more truth and freedom there is in a society or on planet Earth, the more freedom there is, the more moral relativism there is, meaning rights don't exist. I can just do whatever I want. Right and wrong doesn't exist in nature. Then the more slavery there is. So if you want to create a new world order, right, from chaos comes order. So the Satanist job is to create as much chaos as possible, so then therefore they get to create more man-made laws. Then they will bring out what David explains as the Hunger Games society. So what he's talking about is they'll have the Satanists in the background making up the rules, and then they have the police and the military, or military police, which is what's planned, in the streets, and they will be pushing the rules on everyone else, and it will all be backed via violence. So if we don't want that to happen, then we need to start teaching people to not be ignorant and to actually understand what morals are and to align your behaviour to it, because then that's what truly makes you free and sovereign. Now the reason why I've written ignorance here is because if you watch any of Sadhguru's videos, it's all about bringing you and drawing you into his programs where he's going to talk to you about meditation, and he will always say, why do you want this? Why do you desire this? Why do you talk about what right and wrong is? Why do you stand up for your rights? This is basically what he's saying. And you know, you don't need to do any of that. Just, you know, you're a human being, so just be in bliss. And all his solution is to stop thinking and stop reacting to your emotions completely, basically, because you should just be in a state of bliss and ecstasy. Well, hang on a minute, why would I want to be in a state of bliss and ecstasy if there's no right or wrong? Surely bliss and ecstasy is a good thing. So all these gurus, they always talk about the positive sides, but they never acknowledge the negative. And of course, what this is really doing is making everyone ignorant of evil. They're basically teaching you to not think for yourself and to not judge them, because you're in my little ashram and I want you to be an obedient little slave. I don't want you to question what I'm doing. I don't want you to judge what I'm doing. So I'm not going to teach you how to think for yourself. If you're judging, then, you know, you're just being an idiot. And Sadhguru has even done videos on why anger is stupid. Anger can be a beautiful thing, right? It's called righteous anger. If you're standing up for something, you know, some sort of injustice, then you're going to be angry about it. If you walk through a slaughterhouse and see what's going on in there, and you're just being all blissful and that, then you're just in a state of ignorance. Now, I totally understand. I've experienced the bliss and ecstasy. I meditate and I get into that state. Sadhguru has shown me a lot of about how to meditate. But what he's teaching you is how to not be in this world, right? You've got to be in the world but not of it. I can control my inner domain, right? And that's what I'm teaching you as well. You've got to control your inner domain and be wise and have discernment. How can you have discernment and know that you're on a moral path in life if you don't have morality? If you don't know what morality is, how can you discern the correct moral path for human beings? Our job is to be in the world also. Otherwise, what's the point in being here? You're just here to be a little robot, are you? It literally makes no sense when people say, like, you're not here to judge anything, because everything that you do is a judgment. You've got to make judgment calls all the time. You have to make judgments on what you're going to buy at the supermarket. You have to make judgments on whether you're going to go to work or not today. A true spiritual teacher will teach you how to have discernment, and so that you can actually become free in your life. And then you can live the life that you came here to live. You can actually be in a state of bliss and ecstasy. But because we're all one, we should always stand up and help others that are not free and in a state of enslavement. A part of enlightenment is all about knowing that you have a responsibility to help other people to improve their lives, because, like it or not, you are connected to everyone's sort of karma, right, in a sense. You know, because everyone's being so ignorant of this plan to the demic that's going on right now, that's affecting you as well. So what we're actually learning right now on Earth, especially in the spiritual community that's been taught by the New Age movement, ignorance is bliss for such a long time, we're being taught that ignorance isn't bliss, and that actually we should stand up for our rights. And when you do, and you take responsibility, that is what brings true freedom. So if you want to know if any spiritual teacher is a fake guru out there, or not whether they're a fake guru, but if their information is right or not, if it's true or not, if it's correct or not, then always look at moral relativism. Are they teaching me my rights? Are they actually teaching me the difference between right and wrong so I can have discernment and live a good life of freedom, which is your birthright? Or are they teaching me there is no right or wrong? Because what they're doing is teaching you that because there's no right or wrong, man gets to make up what right is, and then they get to take your rights away from you, because otherwise we'd have chaos, wouldn't we? No, otherwise we'd have freedom if we just taught what true morality actually is. And true morality means you do not have the right to take what is not yours. You do not have the right to take actions which cause harm to other sentient beings. Therefore we have order, and therefore we have true spiritual evolution. Otherwise we have chaos, and what comes from chaos is the dark new world odor. So I hope you enjoyed this video, my friends. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section below, and make sure to subscribe and click all notifications. And if you want to gain access to any of my exclusive content, then the links to my Patreon are in the description box below, and I also do one-to-one sessions if you want to speak to me. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Peace and love, my friends.